Firstly, the virus, according to experts, has peaked, and as we mentioned, just several score of new cases. But is it still too early to encourage China to go back to work? Is there the possibility of this flaring up again?
Well, I think China has made great strides in containing the coronavirus problem. And now outside of, well, Hubei province itself, all indications seem to be that China is succeeding in holding the situation very much under control. However, we cannot be complacent for several reasons. One is that in Wuhan city and in other parts of Hubei, there are still cases breaking out. And also, China is faced with a new challenge, that is foreign travelers or Chinese nationals living in other parts of the world coming back may be contaminated. So this really creates a new problem, new challenge that China needs to deal with. So I think the overall consensus view here among the medical professionals is that maybe by the end of March, the rest of China outside of Hubei province probably can succeed in completely containing the coronavirus. And China as a whole, probably by the end of April, will succeed in this great endeavor.
Victor, from a personal standpoint, you and I were part of the China Live team that actually drove through the southwest part of the country at the end of last year. We saw new roads, new bridges, new rail lines that connected that region to other parts of China and many ASEAN nations as well. You talked about being complacent and the aspect that this virus could be transported to other areas. Any concern that part of this progress, this new economic life, is also a concern that could allow the disease to spread further?
Well, everything has the positive and the negative sides, I would say. And for the coronavirus to be transmitted so widely in China and also so widespread throughout the world really is related to, let's say, globalization and the advancement in transportation and communication, etc. But mankind need to move on. Mankind need to continuously strive for greater progress. And I think the spread of the coronavirus also teaches mankind that really we need to come up with a new framework of fighting against epidemic like the coronavirus. And going forward, I would say international cooperation will be absolutely necessary in containing and fighting against epidemics like the coronavirus.
Victor, how do you, China has to get its millions of people back to work. Let's talk about the effect that it has had on industry, agriculture to this point.
Absolutely. I think China is faced with this daunting task of restarting its economy because back in the last 10 days of January and throughout February, the top priority for China was to fight against the coronavirus. So more or less the whole country was locked down. In many parts, it's voluntarily. People like me, for example, have been locked down voluntarily because we do not want to take any risk of being contaminated or exposing others to the risks. However, I think the restarting of the economy is now a top priority, mainly because in the manufacturing sector, China is really a major platform, not only for China itself, but also for the rest of the world. So any major disruption and continued disruption for a long period of time will really wreak havoc in China as well as in many other parts of the world.
Absolutely.
However,
Victor, if I can cut you off, what sectors do you think will really struggle to recover? We heard about the subsidies being given to fish farmers, being given to technology entities, other manufacturing.
I think almost all sectors have been negatively impacted upon because you are talking about in doing many of these industrial sectors, agricultural sectors, you are talking about the movement of the people from one place to another. You are talking about the movement of logistics, raw materials, spare parts, finished products from one place to another, inside China and outside of China. And also you are talking about, for example, people gathering together for meetings, for lunches, dinners, for example, social events, which normally happen all the time. But now there is a freezing up of all these activities, movements of the people, and people also have been suffering from this kind of shock of how speedily this epidemic has been spreading throughout China, and we need to really get into the mode again of continuously fighting against the epidemic, but also more and more becoming more assertive in coming out and re-engaging in economic activities. But I would say in terms of manufacturing sector, it is very much negatively impacted because most of the migrant workers have not yet been coming back to the cities, to their jobs.
Well, Victor Gao, always a pleasure. People watching to see how China is dealing with this. Again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Sean.